Today we're exploring the remarkable story of the Irish Democrat, a small immigrant newspaper published in London, which played a crucial role in sparking the Northern Ireland civil rights movement. This publication began as Irish Freedom and became the voice of the Irish people fighting for justice in both Britain and Northern Ireland. The story begins in 1939, just before the outbreak of World War II. The Connolly Club, later the Connolly Association, named after Socialist Republican James Connolly, launched a newspaper called Irish Freedom to serve the growing Irish immigrant community in Britain. This wasn't just any community newsletter, it was a political tool with a mission. In 1945, as the war drew to a close, the newspaper was renamed the Irish Democrat. The new name reflected a broader strategy, positioning themselves not just as Irish Republicans, but as Democrats fighting for civil rights and social justice. The driving force behind this transformation was Desmond Greaves, who became editor in 1948 and remained in that position until he died in 1988. Greaves was a member of the Communist Party of Great Britain, but his vision extended far beyond party politics. The Irish Democrat operated on three levels. First, within the Irish immigrant community in Britain. Second, through British trade unions and left-wing political parties. And third, through broad-based organisations like the Movement for Colonial Freedom and the National Council for Civil Liberties. This wasn't just a newspaper, it was a political organising tool. It became the voice of the diaspora, connecting Irish communities across Britain while keeping their eyes firmly fixed on the situation in Northern Ireland. Throughout the 1950s and 60s, the Irish Democrat was documenting and campaigning against civil rights abuses in Northern Ireland, systematic discrimination in housing, employment and voting rights that targeted the Catholic nationalist community. But they weren't just reporting, they were organising. The Connolly Association, through the Irish Democrat, launched campaigns that brought British MPs and trade unionists into the fight. They organised marches throughout cities in England, distributed thousands of petitions, and, crucially, they broke what they called the Wall of Silence around Northern Ireland in British politics. When police beat Kevin Mallon and Francis Talbot to extract confessions in 1958, the Irish Democrat sent a London lawyer to observe the trials. When nearly 200 people were interned without trial under the Special Powers Act, the newspaper helped organise a campaign that eventually won support from half the British Labour Party and over 1 million trade unionists. The Irish Democrats' influence reached its peak with the formation of the Northern Ireland Civil Rights Association in 1967, which acknowledged that the groundwork laid by Irish emigrant organisations in London, primarily the Connolly Association and its newspaper, was crucial to their formation. When the famous October 5, 1968, civil rights march in Derry was attacked by police, creating images that shocked the world, the Irish Democrat had already spent years preparing the ground. They had educated British politicians, organised trade union support, and, most importantly, framed the Northern Ireland situation as a civil rights issue that British people could understand and support. The events in Derry opened a new age of tumult in the crisis of unionism. The Irish Democrat had spent nearly 3 decades building toward this moment. The civil rights demands it championed were largely achieved. The B specials were abolished, the Special Powers Acts were repealed, anti-discrimination legislation was introduced, and electoral reform gave nationalists real political power for the first time. But the newspaper's greatest achievement was proving that immigrant communities could be powerful agents of change. This activist journalism was organised, campaigned, and utilised its position to fight injustice both locally and internationally. Today, as we grapple with questions of immigrant rights and civil liberties, the story of the Irish Democrat reminds us that newspapers aren't just about reporting the news. Sometimes they help make history.